After that night of July 26th, when Javier gave that interview on television, the producers of television programs did not hesitate to contact him to add him as a guest on their programs. The man had something that viewers liked. Having Javier talk about the economy only fed the frustration of a people who were beginning to get annoyed by a government that promised change, but could not find its way. Besides, having Javier on a program was synonymous with discussion and high rating points.
Excuse me, who have you governed?
Me. No, let's see, wait.
Have you ever held
I need to have
office?
governed nothing to realize that Kirchnerism was the worst government in history. The fact that I have not governed anything does not make you a good ruler. That is a fallacy. I dedicate myself to analyzing the economy, which you do quite poorly.
Did you hold a political office in economics? Did you hold a political office in economics?
Let me explain again. The fact that I have not held office is synonymous with the fact that you did things right. You did them frighteningly wrong. And you know what the data condemns you. That you, as every Peronist, can't stand them, because they work against you. Live with their backs to the data.
You are a gorilla.
Live with their backs to the data. Keep on playing your game. Disqualify me all you like. I'm as much of a gorilla as you want me to be. I live on bananas. But you know what the reality is? You can't stand the data, because you are the decadence of Argentina.
Although Mauricio Macri's government boasted of being right-wing, the reality is that it was not even that right-wing, and Argentine society was not yet ready to forget its old leftist policies. To give you an idea, referring to himself as a capitalist on television was taken almost as an insult.
I am an institutional liberal, but I am also a minarchist in the short term, and obviously in the long term I am an anarcho-capitalist.
He never betrayed his ideals. The man did everything when he went on camera. If he had to fight, he fought. If he had to sing, he sang. And if he had to dance, he did it too. It is necessary to recognize that in those years, Javier fed more than one television program. They knew how to make him angry in order to bring out his most effusive side. They also satirized him, made fun of him on more than one occasion, and on one occasion he was thrown out of a program only because a model could not refute his ideas.
Javier, don't force me to tell you thank you very much for coming to my program. Javier, thank you very much for coming.
But what nobody imagined back then is that, of all the words Javier said on television, these words would become an awakening in Argentine society. Adult people were fond of him. They agreed with him in every word he used to criticize politics. But Javier was not taken seriously. In fact, people called him the tousled madman, or the madman of the television. But there was a small part of society which put aside that charismatic and effusive character and began to look at him as a reference, as someone whose ideas of freedom were not beginning to sound so far-fetched, and that sector was the youth. Young people between 15 and 20 years of age began to realize that what Javier was saying had some correlation with the reality they were living day by day. They realized that all their parents' hard work was not paying off, that the country's economic situation was becoming increasingly difficult. In addition, globalization and the boom in new technologies and entertainment were becoming more and more inaccessible to them. Buying video games, phones, computers, and digital assets represented more than a month's work for any of their parents. In Argentina, health and education are free. They have good professionals for both services, but the devaluation and the large immigration from neighboring countries, such as Bolivia and Paraguay, promoted by Kirchnerism, made the services become deficient in the field of health and unaffordable for any young Argentinian who wanted to study a university degree. In addition, during those years and to this day, young people from other countries in the region began to make fun of Argentina's economic misfortune. The citizens of other neighboring countries saw an opportunity in getting free health and education and did not miss it. So let's recap. Young Argentines could not access public services paid by their parents through taxes, and on top of that, they had to see how foreigners arriving from neighboring countries occupied those services and made fun of Argentines in social networks. The humiliation was total. It was then that frustration was channeled in support of Javier's ideas. We reached 2017, a crucial year for Argentine politics. While Macri's government was wobbling, Javier continued to be a panelist and guest on TV and radio programs, but his talks were getting more and more attention from the public. I am going to tell you something. In Argentina, there is an old saying, Peronism always governs, and when it does not govern, it does not let govern either. And this time it was not going to be the exception. Macri's government started off moderately well, but Kirchnerism, in only 2 years, managed to bring his image down to the ground. In part, Macri's government was guilty of paying too much attention to what Kirchnerism demanded. But if there is one thing I am sure of, it is that Kirchnerism did not let Macri govern. Between social organizations, unions, and media related to Kirchnerism, they were wearing down the government day by day. Road and street blockades, people crying for the media, production stoppage through the unions towards the companies, and many other tricks more achieved that in 2017 Macri's government lost the midterm elections, in which deputies and senators are elected. After that lost election, Macri's government was defeated. The markets reacted badly. The country risk went up, inflation skyrocketed, and Macri had no choice but to ask for a loan from the International Monetary Fund so that the country would not blow up again. In short, they took debt to pay debt. With a totally divided country, with a government that did not measure up and an opposition that did what it wanted with the government, the result was inevitable. Kirchnerism managed to return to power in 2019 with Alberto Fernandez as president and Cristina Kirchner as vice president. What Argentines did not know until then is that those 4 years of a new Kirchnerist government would be some of their worst years in terms of economic, health, and security. And you may wonder, what did Javier do in those 2 years, from 2017 to 2019? Well, he kept giving economic talks, published books, and made the biggest contribution to his own political career, being that he himself was not yet a politician. He gave a name to all Argentine politics. He called them the political caste. It was then that older people began to take him a little more seriously and were able to understand his ideas better. And since we are talking about the political caste, let me tell you that will be the central theme of the following video, and believe me when I tell you that you are not prepared to see everything I am going to tell you. I am going to show you the darkest and most repulsive side of the whole status quo in Argentina. I hope you liked this video, and if so, I ask you to please subscribe and share this video. I'll be waiting for you in Chapter 3 titled, The Caste.
Hello, I am General and Cap. I come from Liberland, a land created within 7 square kilometers, a country where no taxes are paid, a country where individual freedoms are defended, where we believe in the individual and there is no place for collectivist sons of bitches who want to ruin our lives.